Hey, I'm Eric. I'm listening to 100 albums in 100 days. For all the details on what I'm doing and why, check out my video pinned to my profile. Today, I listened to the 1990 album Chance from the band the Rave Ups. So I have two stories to tell you. The one, I'm gonna tell you how the album got added to the list, and the second story I'll tell you is about the band. So if you have ever heard of the streaming platform Pluto TV, you know that they have channels that show all kinds of things, but they have some really Gen X geared channels that just stream stuff. You can't rewind, you can't pause. It's just like watching live TV, but it's streaming. Well, they have a channel that is, well, so they have several channels that I've watched on a consistent basis. They have a Three's Company channel. If you're a kid from the 80s, you know and love that show. And then they have like a show that shows old sitcoms, like Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Brady Bunch, all that. But they have one channel that is devoted to Beverly Hills 90210. And all it does is just play that show over and over in a big loop. As soon as the show's in, you know, the 10th season ends, it starts over at season 1 and just keeps going around and around. Well, one day I just happened to be watching it, and it was an episode that had a spring dance on it, and there was a band playing, and I really liked the song that I heard, and I don't remember it from back then. So I Shazammed it, given the fact that we have technology now that can do that. I Shazammed the song, and I found this band. It's the Rave Ups. And that name sounded really familiar to me. And so once I added them to the list, I started digging up where I'd heard that band before. And here's the other story that I was going to tell about the band. So they've been around for a long time. They've been around. They formed in 1979. And if you're a kid from the 80s, you should recognize the name from 16 Candles. The band name is scrawled on Molly Ringwald's folder that she's holding in a couple of scenes. She has it written in pen across the folder, the Rave Ups. Well, come to find out, her sister, her real life sister, Molly Ringwald's sister, was dating one of the guys in the band. And because of that, and because of her relationship with John Hughes, she got John Hughes to go to one of their shows one night. And because of that, they ended up in the movie Pretty in Pink. And which is how I remember, from those two things is why the name sounded so familiar. But I don't remember, and I was a pretty avid watcher of 90210 when it first came out. And I have no shame about that. I don't remember this episode of this band, and even then, if I'd even remembered them, I couldn't have Shazammed it back then. So, I mean, anyway, that's how they got on the list. That's who they are. This album came out in 90. They actually had one that came out in 88. They have a couple of newer, like one came out in 2022, but they broke up after 1992, and then there was a long gap between. I think another album came out in 2009, so there was a 17-year gap in there. This album, though, is a little bit of rock. It's a little bit of Americana. It's a little bit of alt country before there was ever even alt country. At times, they sound like the Gem Blossoms, but at times they're just a straight up rock band. And it's a really good album. The Best I Can't is the opening track. That's what I heard on the episode of 90210. Respectfully, King of Rain is a great song. She Says Come Around, that's another great song. That song reminds me of, if you've ever seen the movie, That Thing You Do, it reminds me of The Wonders a little bit. And then the last track on the album, False Sense of Success, is a really good track too. But it was a fun listen. I listened to it today while I was mowing the lawn. They write some great songs. It makes me want to go check out the previous album because I didn't have a chance to do that. The one that came out in '88. I don't know if the songs they did on Pretty in Pink will be on that album, but we'll find out. And I actually want to hear their newest album that came out. I think it said it came out in 2022 is what I saw on Spotify. But this is a really great album, even though the style is all over the place. They pull them all off very well, and they write great songs. Worth a listen if you want to pick it up and listen to it. If you know who this band is and you have thoughts about them, let me know. If you remember them from the folder, and the 16 Candles, or if you remember them from either the movie or the television episode that I watched, let me know your thoughts. Again, this is a really good album. It's worth a listen. So if you do, let me know what you think.